It's the Japanese Grand Prix. Welcome, everyone, to EXA Racing League. It's the X1 division tonight, as usual on a Wednesday, and we're here in Japan getting underway with qualifying the cars. Just leaving the grid, leaving the pits now, as you can see. So ahead of us, we have an 18-minute qualifying session around this figure-of-8 circuit. 18 corners, 1 DRS zone, all over 5.8 kilometers or 3.6 miles of track. After the 18 minutes of quali, we've got a 27-lap race to determine the winner of this Grand Prix. Going ahead of the Grand Prix, last week was Singapore, and Tony didn't win it. He's won 3 of the last 4 races, and he's currently leading the Drivers' Championship. And he came 3rd in Singapore, so looking to bring back that winning streak today here in Japan. Hopefully for him, he's going to have a good qualifying today, unlike previously. In Singapore, he had a very tough qualifying session, which made him qualify in 7th. And he's looking to put it on pole today for the 3rd time this season. Another driver to know is Mr. Sprogis in the McLaren. Has come 2nd quite a few times. 2nd in Qatar, almost won that race. And 2nd in Singapore, once again. Almost won that race. It's been very close, but he's just not been able to get it just yet. Looking to secure his first win of the season in the McLaren. So the drivers all coming out on the track, leaving the pits. Pretty much everyone is on an outlap right now. And let's see if we can spot any drivers who have just started a flying lap. I believe Sousa in the Haas has started his flying lap, rounding turn 1 and 2 towards the S's of Sector 1. This is a favorite of some of the drivers here because of this very tricky Sector 1. If you get one corner wrong, you're going to get the whole sector wrong, but flat out as we head up the hill towards Degna 1. Let's see, any braking. Small lift round Degna 1 into Degna 2 and on his way towards the hairpin. Braking heavy, get it turned in. Kiss the inside apex and fast exit. Very important exit here because it's a long run down towards Spoon Curve. Let's see, a little bit of braking. Use all of the track possible on that middle exit apex. And he actually invalidated there. I believe that was on the exit of the on the corner. Maybe just got track limits by a little bit. And first time on the board is Ryan Grob, 1:26.3. That is the time to beat so far. Let's see if Sousa's teammate is on a hot lap in the other Haas. It's Trixty heading towards 130R and around it towards the final 3 corners, 2 of them being the chicane. Reese puts down a faster time in the AlphaTauri, 1:26.186. Here we go. Open the DRS. The final run to the line, and it's a 1:26.145 for Trixty. So 0.04 of a second between P1 and P2 right now as Alu crosses the line, 1:26.9. Defending world champion, hasn't had a great season so far this year and still hasn't won a race at EXA. Despite winning the championship last year, didn't manage to get a win while doing so. Here is Tony Ritchie, current championship leader. Won 3 out of the 4 races in the Red Bull and looking to secure his 4th win of the season tonight. And let's see if we can have a look at one of the Ferraris. This is Samuel, who has got an invalid lap. It's his debut here in X1. And his teammate Pablo is just heading round turn 1 and 2 to start his flying lap. Let's ride on board and have a see what Pablo in the Ferrari can do for his first run in qualifying. We've had 10 people setting times, and Trixty in the Haas, still fastest so far. Been very strong in qualifying. In fact, I believe he won the race last week from pole in Singapore, if I'm not mistaken. Or he could have been second. I'm not too sure. Well, here we go then. Pablo heading out of the hairpin towards Spoon. He's got a couple of cars in front of him who are just going around Spoon, but they are going to be able to get out of the way. Let's see if he gets track limits there. No. Nicely using all of that exit curb. Going to try to pick up a bit of a slipstream. He's going to have to do a bit of a weaving between those two cars. The car on the right didn't quite move to the left and off the racing line, but round 130R we go. And towards the chicane, take a lot of curb on the first one and the second one. Ooh, a little bit of a slide there as he got a bit too much throttle going over the second curb on the exit. Opens the DRS. Slowest time so far for Pablo, 1:27.8. So he's definitely going to have to improve if he wants to have a chance at scoring some points tonight. So we've got a couple of drivers in the pits, but one of those drivers in the pits, not in the pits, sorry, is Tony Ritchie, currently on a hot lap. Hasn't been able to put up the same performance that his teammate has so far this season. And let's see what he can do on this qualifying run. Hasn't set a time yet. Got a couple of cars to overtake. Not going to be a problem. Round 130R. Fernando Alonso famously overtaking Michael Schumacher in 2005 round that corner. Absolutely amazing move. He sets the fastest Sector 2, by the way, of a 38.8. He crosses the line to go fastest. The 1:25.965. Absolute storming Sector 2. Absolutely storming lap as well. Beating the fastest time so far by almost, well, by almost 2/10. A brilliant run by Tony Ritchie, sorry. Why did I think it was Grosjean in this Red Bull? Why was I surprised? My apologies, just had a bit of a brain fart throughout that entire lap, but Tony Ritchie goes fastest. Thought it was his teammate. My apologies. Well, that's slightly awkward, but here we go. Most people in the pits. And we've got two people who haven't set a lap yet, including Leo and Anton. And Tony's teammate has retired from the session. So let's get that all cleared up. Tony Ritchie goes fastest so far with 9 minutes left in the session. And that is what we were expecting to see. And expecting to see what happens when Tony gets a strong qualifying. So far, it's looking good for him. Got 2 more sets of soft tyres to run through, but only 9 minutes on the clock left. So drivers starting to come out the pits now, we can see. A lot of them feeding out to get ready for their next run in qualifying. Everyone going to be playing the game of chicken to be last out of the gates for this next run in quali. Also to warm the tyres. Let's have a look at Leo here. Seems to be on a hot lap going around Sector 2. Notably, one of the longest sectors on this track. Pretty much half the track is Sector 2. And he's flying so far. He set a 30.9 in the first sector, so pretty decent. And he's heading towards 130R. At 190 miles an hour, turning very smoothly. That Haas is in the way. Did not see him coming, and that was very close to just running into the back of that Haas was Leo. But he managed to avoid it. Round the chicane, opens the DRS. Goes fifth fastest, 1:26.232, so not bad. Alu, his teammate, however, gets a 5-place grid penalty for illegal blocking. I wonder if that gets removed. Because if we just have a look, I think he's just in the train of cars that are sort of all together. Not sure if he did actually block someone, but I'll be keeping an eye out on the X1 chat to see if we're going to have a custom grid for this one. But let's see if we can have a look at any other drivers who are out on a hot lap right now. Gaber in the Williams, heading round to the end of Sector 1. Up the hill and towards Degner 1. He goes flat out there, almost tiny little lift round. Degner 2. Don't want to get too much on that curve because it's hard to accelerate out of it. But towards the hairpin he goes. Takes a wider line there. We saw some drivers do that actually in real life Formula 1. They were preferring to take a bit of a wider line there. And Gaber maybe trying to recreate that as Reese in the AlphaTauri actually goes fastest. 125.89. So pole position, of course, not secured for Tony. As we expect, though, it was only the first run in qualifying. And he's on an out lap right now. But Gaber, what can he do? In this third and very short sector. Round the chicane, absolutely lovely. Open the DRS. Goes fourth fastest. Very respectable time there of a 126.1. We've got 5 minutes left of quali. And we're about to see Tony Ritchie start his second flying lap of quali. Round the first few S's and let's ride on board. And just watch this masterclass of driving from someone who's been very, very consistent over the last 4 races. Only had one hiccup in Singapore last week. Absolutely flat out round Degner 1, taking that inside curb brilliantly. Doesn't unsettle the car at all. And goes fastest in the first sector. Here we go then. As he exits the hairpin towards Spoon Curve, this double apex corner. Let's have a look at that. Not using as much track as we've seen other people do, but using a lot on the very exit of Spoon. And the run towards 130R, reaching 190 miles an hour. Absolutely lovely stuff. Fastest sector 2 as well, 38.6 in that second sector. Bit of a different line towards the chicane, but he goes fastest anyway. Only just though, 125.874. The gap is, well, you can see it on your screen. It's 15 milliseconds between himself and P2. So not a lot of safety here, and he's going to have to rush to the pits to get another set of tires on and get out to do a final run. Let's have a look at Mr. Sprogus in the McLaren. Actually invalidated his lap. Currently sitting in third over the 125.893. And hoping to get a win today in Japan. Has been rather unlucky with some of these race results. What comes to mind is Qatar. Lost that race, well, came second in that race. Literally on the start-finish line, it was decided. So he's been very close. And just to confirm that we're probably going to get a custom grid here for Japan because of Alu's 5-place grid penalty. He said in the chat, if he qualifies bottom 5, it doesn't matter. But if he's 15 or above, we're going to have to redo the grid here. Katana is the only one who is out on track right now. He's got the whole place to himself as he heads around Spoon. Small downshift there. And towards 130R he goes. He's going to, just before he gets over 130R, he's going to go over the bridge where the drivers will be passing underneath him. As said, drivers are all leaving the pits now, but our eyes are on Katana as he heads towards the hairpin. That was a big cut there. If that's not track limits, I'll be surprised, but let's see what he can set. Absolutely nothing. Goes into the pits. Clearly not happy. So, 2 people who have retired, one including Morgan Edwards in the Aston Martin, saying, we get another 5-second time, 5-place grid penalty there for someone. Just missed the name. And another one for Mizzy in the Alfa Romeo. So, I'm going to presume, if we just look at what Mizzy's doing, yeah, there's no illegal blocking going on there. Everyone's just nicely sorted behind each other. So we are going to have a custom grid here. Absolutely. As everyone is... I mean, if everyone was this close and side by side in the race, this is going to be an amazing race. But everyone is just warming the tires, skirming around each other. Whoa, look at the Williams go. This is an incredible race, everyone. And here comes Leo. past the cars round Spoon. Look at this train of cars we've got. Morgan Edwards, as I was saying before, actually is saving a set of soft tires because he's saying minimum 3 people in turn 1 are going to crash. So he's saving softs because I'm Max getting P7. His words. There's just a bit of info there for you. Who's the first person out on track? It looks like it's Sousa in the Haas. Currently sitting in 5th behind his teammate only by 0.02 of a second. Also, if you're watching this instead of the F1 Esports, you have made the right choice. Those guys take everything way too seriously. We're here to be a little bit serious, but a lot of fun. And another 5-place grid penalty. That's just... We're going to have a bit of a struggle when it comes to the grid order. So, mods, if you're watching the stream, make sure to mark down what we've got going on here on the table as Sousa comes towards Spoon Curve. Everyone else on hot laps here, apart from Tony. Tony's actually started his hot lap, and I'm intrigued to see if he can hold this down. So we're going to ride on board the full length of Tony's lap. He's looking for a 4th pole position here this season. And the drivers in front of him are actually on a hot lap, so they're not going to get out of the way if Tony is that much faster. The other person to look out for is Reese in the AlphaTauri. We're going to see he's going to cross the line before Sousa goes fastest, 125.810. That is the time to beat so far. Reese, Tony, and Sprogis, all heavy contenders for this pole position. Sprogis actually retires from the session. Maybe invalidated. Not happy, but the best he's going to be able to get is 4th. But he might get knocked down by Trixty, who is only a 10th behind him. Tony Ritchie sets the 30.7, so equaling the fastest Sector 1. Let's see what he can do in Sector 2. Reese goes fastest, 125.775. That is the time to beat so far. Tony Ritchie, fastest Sector 2 by, I think, quite a mile from the last Sector 2 we saw. Opens the DRS to take, not pole position, 2 milliseconds off pole position. 2 milliseconds, everybody. That is how close it is here at X1. So there we go. That is the grid lineup for today's race. We do have a couple of people with grid penalties, but they will be removed. So Tony has not managed to get his 4th pole position, only by 0.02 of a second. And Reese manages to put it on pole for the first time this year, this season in the AlphaTauri, and look at that difference. Absolutely brilliant. The top 4 separated by less than a 10th. And that final chicane for Tony was just not... I think that's what cost him those 2 milliseconds. He had a little bit of wheel spin on the exit. So, yeah. We've got the red flag here at the session, which means that we're going to be starting on a custom grid. So we're about to see some absolute shenanigans into the first corner, as everyone is going to be DNFing and the race is not going to count. So we're going to get a bit of fun here. Do not leave the lobby if you are listening to the stream, drivers. Do not leave the lobby. Only retire from the session when available, which Jetters did not do. He left the lobby, so shame on you, I guess. I don't know. It's not that serious, but no one else leave the lobby if you're listening. We're just going to load him and get going. So here we go. Everyone gets going. Drive-through penalty. Jump starts. Look at this go. Oh my god. And Matthew takes the lead of the race. There's a Mercedes flying into the wall. And wow. You don't get this in F1 esports, ladies and gentlemen. And, well, there goes V10 Leo somehow not DNFing from that one. This is great stuff. There we go. Everyone wants to creatively hit the wall. There goes the AlphaTauri. How is this not a DNF? Some people clearly struggling to retire from the session from collisions. Morgan and he's gonna win the race, is Morgan. Wow, look at that. Okay. So there you go. There's a bit of evening entertainment for you all before we get some serious racing going on. So there you go. All drivers have retired. Please do not leave the session. And we'll get this custom grid going. Red flag, red flag. A lot worse than the F1 Japanese start. Daniel Ricciardo, Alex Albon. Take some notes. That was what just happened there was full Nicholas Latifi Lance Stroll. And Logan Sargent. Or if you mixed all of their talents together, that is the kind of F1 lobby you get. Anyway, should we look at the race incidents? Jump start, jump start, jump start, jump start. Severe collision, corner cutting, terminal damage, parked in a dangerous location. So there you go. That is the peak of EXA Racing League. So just a moment while the mods set up the custom grid. And then we will be able to get going very soon. So yeah. Is it going to be another Red Bull win tonight? Max Verstappen winning this this year. And I'm going to see if I can invite Jetters. I might have him as a friend. I do. How do I invite you? It's not like that, is it? It's like this. There you go. Look at me doing the mods work. Commentating, modding. Next thing you know, I'm going to be slapping it on pole position by 2 milliseconds. While we wait, chat, who is excited for the Chinese Grand Prix in a couple of weeks' time? 21st of April is the Chinese Grand Prix at 9 AM in UK time. First time we've had a race that's actually a convenient time for about a month. For us UK watchers, Chinese Grand Prix is going to be very fun. My favourite corners is turn 1 in Shanghai, so yeah. It'll be interesting to see Max Verstappen win a race on a track that he hasn't won on before. I think he hasn't won on before. I don't know, he might have. I no clue. So, custom grid is just getting sorted. Can I see it? Can I see the custom grid or no? Wouldn't it be funny if I could just change the assists on the rules? I'll just set red flags to increased. Or just turn off track limits. Bit of commentator trolling. Commentator curse, but literal. How do I see the custom grid? I wanna remind everyone. Can we see the weather? Weather is dynamic. So I don't think we'll see any rain, unlike yesterday in X3, where we saw Spain go from sunny Spain to torrential rain Britain in the matter of a few laps, which sent the race into the 4th dimension. And it was very, very entertaining. Are we going to get going soon? Yep, so we got the custom grid going. Mods just confirming everyone is going to be in the right position with Reese starting on pole. And it would be cool to do some predictions. Can I do a prediction in the chat? / prediction. I'm going to set up a prediction. What will be the prediction? Will pole position convert to a win? Yes or no? Look at this. Can't do gambling in real Formula 1. So we'll set it to 2 minutes. Yes or no? Start prediction. There we go. Prediction starts. So you can now guess. As we get the green flag in the chat, you can now predict if pole position will be converted or not. And then if it does or if it doesn't, I will do the prediction outcome. And you can gamble your channel points away. So far, it's 10 points to 10. So this is also just a good way to vote on who you think is going to win. Will it be pole or will it not be pole? Not a lot of confidence in our pole sitter so far. I'm seeing a couple of people putting their points on someone else. There we go then. Hopefully the driver's going to start readying up. We've got the green flag. I actually need to turn off my fan because you can slightly hear it. There we go. Professional audio quality. The driver's starting to ready up a bit more, and then we'll get going with the race. 27 laps of Japan, of the figure of 8 circuit. 3.6 miles of that per lap. So there you go. There's the prediction submission time has ended, which means that can't put, maybe I should have put it for like a bit longer, but I didn't want to put it on and then the race start and then pole position gets knocked out and it's just a free bet. Oh, are we gonna get going? Who's the leader of the lobby? How do I see it? I think it's it's Anand. Okay, we're starting now. Restarting the race. And we'll be able to get going for 27 laps of racing. Of course, as well, please do stick around till the end of the race because we've got post-race interviews after, where we interview the top 3, our podium sitters, for their thoughts and feelings about the race. Any good? I actually quite like doing the interviews because they all give very well, very good interview answers. It's like they've all been PR trained. Maybe they watch too many post-race interviews of real Formula 1. Anyhow, drivers just confirming their setups and their tyre strategies. And we'll be getting underway. Most likely going to see a one-stop unless we get some safety cars, which is all entirely possible. And soon we're going to get the lights. 5 of them, which of course will go out. I've also got my telemetry up so we can have a look at previous sectors and the sorts. And previous laps as well. Just to get a bit of technical analysis going. So, is Tony's winning streak going to come back? He won the first 3 races of the season, had an unfortunate event in Singapore. It's the Red Bull curse in Singapore, like in the 2023 F1 season. But now it's lights out, and away we go. Bit of lag there on the start for myself, but Reese gets away, closely followed behind Tony, who gets a pretty good start. Everyone seems to barrel into turn 1 pretty well. Sprogus down the inside of Sousa and seems to get ahead, and there's contact between the Alfa Romeo and the McLaren, both of them spinning round. That's going to be probably a safety car, I think. It looks like we've got yellow flags so far. Yep, safety car there. I don't think anyone's overtaking. Absolutely right. Sprogus loses all of his front wing within the first few corners. Basically a reenactment of what happened last weekend in Formula 1 between Daniel Ricciardo and Alex Albon. And just gets taken out. Absolutely nothing you can do there. And Sprogus had a pretty good start. Now down in 19th. Oh, that is a brakes check there from Tony. And of course, Sousa's going to the back of him. Luckily, no damage there to that front wing. Of course, reduced damage here at EXA. It'll be interesting to see on the higher leagues a bit more damage introduced. So drivers have to be a little bit more careful. But of course, we don't want to We want everyone to be able to participate as much as possible, even if there are such severe incidents which would have caused a DNF normally, just like the one we saw there. It was actually a virtual safety car, I believe, and now we're racing again. Let's go to telemetry up and lap data, and let's have a look at the tyres if we can. Well, we'll look at the tyre strategies. So it's pretty much everyone on the softs, a couple of people running the hard tyres. That includes Tony Ritchie here, currently in second, with 2 Haas's following him up, chasing down the Alfa Romeo. A little bit of a slide there because it's in that corner from him. And currently almost a second away from Reese. So maybe playing the long game on these hard tyres. Himself, Alu, Morgan, and Luca Rapasa in the Williams, all on the hard tyres. And then you've got Jetters on the medium in the middle of the pack. So a very split strategy from those 5 drivers as Pablo retires from the race. And Sprogis pits for a new front wing. Is that another virtual safety car? What's going on here? Not too sure. I think it is a... No, it's a full safety car. You can see the safety car on the minimap. So it's a full safety car here on lap 2. Not sure how Tony's feeling about these safety cars. I'm in split minds between it because, of course, it's making the soft tire run that little bit longer with these slower laps, of course, that they're going to be doing. We've seen this tire strategy graphic about 1,000,000 times. Reese actually pits from the soft tires. Actually, I think we're going to see a lot of the soft tire runners pitting. Yep, there we go. So that's handed Tony the lead of the race on the hard tire. So he's going to be able to stay out for that little bit longer and maybe commit to the 1-stop here, while other people are probably going to be going on to the 2-stop. Let's see. A couple of people putting on... Basically, everyone putting on the medium tires. A couple of people putting on the softs. But mainly people going for the mediums here. So, very split strategies. We've got our top 8 deciding not to pit. So we've got splits of hards and softs with 1 medium. Then everyone else on the mediums, apart from Sprogis and Mizzy, who are still on the softs. So Tony Ritchie still going to be under pressure from people on the soft tires, but he's going to be able to extend this to a 1-stopper with these safety cars. And maybe the people on the mediums are going to be pitting later on, probably about halfway into this race for the hard tire. That's what I'm thinking right now. Of course, I'm not a Hannah Schmitz, or I'm not a Hannah Schmitz or a Rosie Way. I'm not a strategical genius, so I'm not too sure. But that is my prediction so far for this race. So 8 drivers not pitting, including our championship leader and now race leader, Tony Ritchie, in the Red Bull at the front of the pack. Safety car might come in this lap. I don't think it will. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's coming in this lap. That will be... Actually, it'll be when Sprogis catches up to the rest of the pack, driving absolutely flat out to catch up. And then it'll be safety car in. So hopefully we see that this lap and we can get racing once again. We actually had quite a few safety cars last night. I believe we were in Japan last night. And we had many a safety cars. The race went on for quite a while. At X3. It's going to be interesting to see how long Tony can hold off these 2 soft tire runners of Trixty and Ryan behind him. Of course, Trixty won in Singapore last week. And is looking to take another win here today. As the person who put it on pole in the AlphaTauri is currently sitting in 9th. Has pitted though. And I wonder if that is going to work out just fine for him. All right then. Sprogus has just about caught up to the rest of the pack. And once we cross the Sector 3 line, which is just before 130R, you can see it on the mini-map in the bottom right. We will get safety car in, hopefully, and be able to go racing again. So, a slow start to this race so far. Hopefully, things are going to speed up. As everyone just warming their tyres, burning off some fuel, of course, because it's going to take less fuel to go around on these slower laps behind the safety car. There we are. Race control. Safety car is in this lap. Richie going to slow down the pack as much as he can and get a good launch out of the chicane to try and jump Trixty here, who is on the faster tyres. Same age of tyre, but going to be a lot faster. He's not actually going yet. When is he going to go? That is the question. He's got to go before the line, and he goes just before the line. Everyone scrambling away. Look at this pack right behind, including Tony Ritchie's teammate Grosjean. And everyone seems to get round the first few corners. Grosjean going down the inside of Jetters, makes up a place there. Brilliant stuff there. And that's an AlphaTauri trying to go down the inside. That's Reese going down the inside of Luca. Round the S's. Everyone feeds through. And I think everyone has managed to make it round Sector 1 intact. No yellow flags. No safety cars or anything like that. We've made it through a sector of racing on lap 5. It took a while, but we're here. And everyone heads all in formation. Everyone so close to each other. Grosjean very close to Katana there. Gives him a little bump around the hairpin just to remind him that he's there. Right behind and chasing down. We head towards Spoon Curve. And Ryan Grob also very close to Trixty here. A couple of car lengths away. Tony Ritchie goes a little bit wide round Spoon. Maybe got a track limits warning there. As well as Trixty did too. And towards 130R we go. Oh, we're going to see any crazy moves like we saw last week in F1 with Sergio Perez doing 2 overtakes down the inside of 130R. Trixty had a little look at Tony Ritchie there just before the chicane, but decided to back out. And we've completed 1 lap of racing. Trixty sets the fastest lap, 131.1. Mizzy sets the fastest lap. Sprogus sets the fastest lap, 130.1. And Trixty actually overtakes Tony Ritchie for the lead. We were looking at Ryan Grob. And into turn 1, Trixty goes. And those soft tyres working well at the beginning of this race for him. And now Tony has got to defend from Ryan Grob here, who is right on his tail. Only 0.2 seconds away as they head through Degner 1 and Degner 2. We've got a yellow flag at the back. It looks like it's Matthew May, maybe. Short yellow flag. No issues anymore as they head round the hairpin. One of the slowest corners on the track, apart from the chicane, of course. And that's Sousa dropping down lots of places. Let's see if we can spot what's going on here. Not seeing any problems. Maybe just a little bit of a spin. Let's rejoin this battle for the lead. Everyone going rather wide there on the exit of Spoon. A little bit of a slide from some of the drivers heading towards 130R. Tony picking up the slipstream. DRS will be enabled this lap, which means they can use it next time they go down the main straight. Only 1 DRS zone, of course, here in Suzuka. And there we are, DRS enabled. Katana has a time penalty of some sort. And Tony Ritchie on the hard tyres. Got some temperature back in them and is closing down on Trixty. And Ryan Grob also closing down on Tony. He's currently in a Red Bull sandwich. Grosjean doing pretty well on those older soft tyres. Definitely got quite a bit of pace in him today. Didn't have a great qualifying, I believe. But is currently up in 4th. So everyone within DRS range of each other. So we're going to have a DRS train of about 19 cars. As there's some position changes going on at the back. Let's ride on board with Ryan Grob, who's chasing down this top 2. And if there's anything crazy that happens, he could have a chance at this win. Nothing is set in stone just yet on lap 7 of 27 as they head towards 130R, starting the 3rd sector. Trixty 2/10 slower in that 2nd sector. And now Tony Ritchie 0.1 away from Trixty as they head round the chicane. Tony's going to have DRS to be able to make this move into turn 1. Katana in the Alfa Romeo gets a 3-second time penalty for track limits. Here comes Tony Ritchie down the inside towards turn 1. Gets ahead before, slots himself inside. And there we go. Tony Ritchie back into the lead of this race. But he has got to defend against people on the soft tyre. So, yes, he had the DRS and the straight line speed. But how is he going to be able to do around these twisty Sector 1 and Sector 2? Heading round Degna 1 and Degna 2 looking rather clean from our top 3. Let's see if we can have a look towards the midfield. The 2 Alpines getting tussled about by Katana here as they head towards the hairpin. Anton brakes a lot later, has to go a little bit deeper to avoid contact. Gets a better exit than Katana as they're heading towards Spoon side by side. Can we get a view of what's going on? Yes, we can. Katana on the inside. Anton just about ahead. Has the inside line for Spoon. Gets ahead. Can he maintain it? He's just wary of Anton on his inside. Katana on his inside. And he's ahead of Katana. Gaber currently chasing them down as well in P12. We've got a yellow flag. That's Morgan at the back. But let's rejoin the battle for the lead as they head round the chicane. 60.4 seconds away on the soft tyres. They're getting older, but he does have DRS to get that ever bit closer. Massive DRS train. Trixty pulls towards the inside, has a little look. Too far back. Tony Ritchie holds on to the lead for another lap. Let's have a look at Alu, defending world champion here. World champion. EXA champion. I guess it's the world as well. You know what? Anyhow, on the hard tyres, currently sitting in 6th. Not doing too bad. Let's look at his previous lap time. Faster than the drivers around him. 131.25 for Alu. Grosjean in front of him. 131.4. So, gaining a bit of time on those hard tyres. Clearly, they're suiting him well. And Reese, who was on pole, has pitted for the softs during the first safety car. Made his way all the way up to 4th. So much pace today from the man in the AlphaTauri. Chasing down Ryan Grob for this 3rd spot on the podium as they head towards Spoon Curve. We're going to have to keep an eye on Reese making up ground on the new mediums. But also, Tony defending the lead of the race from on the hard tyres as they all cross into Sector 3. Identical second sectors for our top 4 here. As they're all heading round the chicane. Let's have a look at Trixty. Let's ride on board. As he opens DRS, he's got a lot of ERS left, so maybe he's just trying to conserve these softs, not going for the lunge straight away, which he could do easily with all of that battery that he has. And is very, very close to Tony here as they head into Sector 1. In fact, Tony has a lot of pressure behind him. Top 3 separated by 0.3 of a second. And Reese isn't far behind in that AlphaTauri. They head into this 2 of the Degner corners. Very easy to unsettle the car in the first one. That fast right-hander, sharp corner, but able to be done very quickly. This all-important exit of the hairpin. Reese awfully close to Ryan Grob here. And as they head towards Spoon, no one making an abstract move. Everyone going to try save it for the main straight, the only DRS zone here, and one of the very few overtaking zones. But anything can happen here at EXA, including maybe a move at the hairpin as Reese has a look as Ryan Grob lunges all the way past Trixie and almost past Tony Ritchie. Gets shoved off the track a bit there by Trixie. Loses out 2 positions, made up 2, almost 2. Lost out on 2 in the end, down to 4th. But now Reese, as we ride on board, has the inside line for Trixie. Gets the move done, moves himself up into 2nd. So much pace on those medium tyres, and now only has 1 more car to get ahead to regain this lead. Started on pole position, and now he's only got 0.3 of a second of a gap to close. But Tony Ritchie, how long are those hard tyres going to be able to keep him, keep the AlphaTauri behind him? So DRS really being a key factor here in this race. And that's a bit of contact there in the back of our screens. We can see Alu getting bounced around. Grosjean has his car ghosted, and Mizzy picks up a place here. And there's a lot of contact around this hairpin. What is going on? Sprogis, everyone sort of banging wheels. Sprogis gets all out of shape, losing a couple of positions down into 9th. Grosjean had the same problem, and that's Sprogis into the wall with Jetters. Everyone flying about. Is that a DNF from Jetters? It's hard to tell. Everything going on. Let's see. Jetters, I think he has no front wing. Let's see. Yep. A lack of front wing there, but no sign of a safety car or anything like that. Just a big yellow flag. Let's rejoin at the front of the pack. And now a big gap that has formed from P1 to from P4 to P1. Trixie has to pit. Not sure why. Maybe it's that time for the soft tires to pit. I think so. 11 laps on those. So Gaber gets a 5-second time penalty. Trixie on to the mediums. Here we go. And Reese and Tony and Ryan Grob all staying out for now. Our top 3 not pitting just yet. Tony not feeling the pressure as much as we would have expected. Not seeing any mistakes for him so far. Driving very well. Oh, that's a slide from Ryan Grob exiting Degner 2. And we've got a caution flag in a couple of these in the first sector. First and third sector, but I think it's gone now. It's actually a slow Williams, I think, in the first few corners. Let's see if we can go check that out here. It's not there. Where is it? Couldn't see it. Alu gets a 3-second time penalty for track limits. Currently sitting in 4th ahead of the rest of the pack. Top 3 separated by less than a second, and then it's 1.9 between themselves and Alu. Reese definitely going to put the pressure on Tony here as they head down towards the main straight. DRS is going to open on that AlphaTauri, and it's Red Bull versus Red Bull. Reese gets alongside of Tony, gets ahead before the corner, moves himself towards the racing line, retakes the lead of this race. Pitted early on the safety car and has made those mediums work for him absolutely brilliantly. And, well, he is going to have to pit again, of course. I doubt he's going to be able to make those mediums last another 14 laps. But we've seen it happen before with mediums lasting about 22 laps previously in Singapore last week. But I don't think you're going to be able to do the same again on such a fast, on such a such a track like Suzuka. where there are very fast corners. I sort of had a bit of a tumble with my words as they're all tumbling down towards Spoon. Morgan in the Aston Martin retires. Hasn't had a good start to this season at all for himself. Tony Ritchie hanging on with the hard tyres. Ryan Grob, speaking of hanging on, 12 laps on those softs. Surely he's going to be pitting very soon. Sprogus down in 15th, gets a 3-second time penalty. Looked very strong for him until he had that unfortunate accident on lap 3. It was a Daniel Ricciardo, Alex Albon reenactment. And are we going to see Sprogus pit? Yes, we are. As expected, Sprogus and Alu actually pitting. So our top two, as Tony retakes the lead of this race again with DRS. So it's just a switcheroo between our top two on who is going to be taking the lead. That is Aston Martin getting out the way. I think it was the DNF'd Aston Martin. But Sousa actually sets the fastest lap with a 1:29.6. Currently down in 10th. And if you just look at Tony Ritchie's sector times, he's pulling out the same sector times as Reese. Actually, quite a bit faster than Reese there in the first sector. That's what my telemetry is telling me. Anyhow, was slower in the previous lap, though, by about 7/10. Despite retaking the lead. If I'm looking at that correctly, I think I am. Yep. So this battle for the lead is going to be something that we're going to be watching the entire time, as it is very close between them. As Reese is right on his tail, going towards the chicane, backs off, lifts off early, doesn't want to get the move done at the chicane, but now has the opportunity to do so. He's got a good exit out of the final corner, and he's going down the inside. It's a virtual safety car. As Reese tries to overtake Tony, we have a virtual safety car. So Tony was in the dust there for just a moment, but before Reese managed to get ahead, Tony got very lucky with the safety car. Is he going to pit anytime soon? Are we going to see our top four pit at all? Tony needs to pit. He hasn't done a pit stop yet this race. But when is he going to pit? That is the question. We are over halfway in this 27-lap race. Lap 15 out of 17. So when are we going to get going again? That is the question. The longer this goes on, the better for Tony if he's going to plan on pitting this lap. And Katana, drive-through penalty for speeding under the virtual safety car. We go green again, and Reese has a very good run into Spoon, down the inside on the safety car restart. Tony gets a little bit shoved off the track, but now has a good launch to get back down the main straight, or potentially even towards the chicane. He's lifting off the throttle. He's got the slipstream, but he's not going to use it to his full advantage. We're going to ride on board and wait for him to overtake after the chicane, but he goes deep at the chicane. Definitely didn't go to plan. Reese pits. Tony doesn't. So it's going to be, is it going to be an undercut from Reese or an overcut from Tony to extend this gap between both of them? It really depends on the traffic here for Reese. Has he found himself a good window? I think so, as Trixty is all the way back, 14 seconds behind, but no, he's going to get overtaken by all of those. So if he comes out just behind this pack, it might not be ideal for Reese, currently sitting in 9th after the pit stop. And Tony has to have a good outlap here to defend himself from an undercut of sorts. Or he could decide to go even longer, as Katana in the Alfa Romeo retires. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 retirements here in Japan so far, and we're only halfway into this race. Tony Ritchie not got that much pressure on him anymore Only 2.9 seconds between himself and our current top 2 and 3. Samuel. Debuting, by the way, for X1. Currently has Reese in the other AlphaTauri. We've got 2 Reeses in the AlphaTauris. Currently under heavy pressure from that AlphaTauri as they head towards the chicane. Reese breaks earlier. Doesn't go for the lunge down the chicane. And heads into the pits. Tony Ritchie still hasn't pitted yet. So maybe he's going along on these tyres. Almost goes off the track there. Looks like maybe a little bit of lag. Ryan Grob in the McLaren sets the fastest lap of the race. Currently sitting in 4th with a 1:29.5. And Tony Ritchie I feel like he hasn't been pushing that much. Sousa sets another fastest lap. But Tony Ritchie, his best lap is a 1:30.7. His last lap was a 1:30.9. So he's been looking after these tires very, very well. And maybe we're going to see him go even longer and then put on the softs for a final stint. That could be an option here for Tony. 10 laps left. Lap 17 of lap 27. Our pole sitter currently stands in 8th. Has just pitted. And so have the people ahead of him. Well, a couple of people ahead of him. He's got 3 lap younger tyres than Tony's teammate Grosjean. Currently in 7th. Tony pits. What is this tyre choice going to be for Tony Ritchie? It's the soft tyres. It's the soft tyres for Tony. Leo takes the lead of this race here. 15 laps on his mediums. Tony Ritchie, where does he fall down to? Where is he going to come out? Reese is ahead of him, and he's just behind Reese. Probably about 3 seconds here. Sousa sets another fastest lap with a 1:29 flat. All the way down in 11th. Not going to get any points for that one, but if he can make up 1 position, he can. So our pole sitter down in 6th, currently in a Red Bull sandwich with about 5 seconds between each one. Well, actually, hang on. Let's have a look. About 2 seconds, 2.5, 3 seconds between each of those Red Bulls. But Tony is on the soft tyres, and we're probably going to see a fastest lap from Tony here. The fastest lap of the race, as he is going to start pushing and using those soft tyres very soon. Ryan Grob currently sitting in 3rd with those newer mediums on. He's going to make those presumably last till the rest of the race unless we get a late safety car in this race. Very close to Trixty here. 0.4 seconds away as they head towards the chicane at the end of this lap, taking an awful lot of inside curb there. Getting himself a good exit. He's got DRS. Is he going to make a move for P2? Here we go. He's gaining. He's gaining. He's gaining. Is he going to switch to the inside? No, he actually downshifts. Doesn't want to make the move into turn 1. Playing the long game. Sousa, 3rd fastest lap for him. 1:28.9. Those soft tyres really working for him. Finding a lot of pace. And we're going to see what Tony Ritchie can do this lap. He's probably going to set a fastest lap. He's taking chunks of time out of Reese. We've got Sprogis retiring from the session there, down in the pit lane. So only 13 drivers left. 13 out of 20 drivers left. And that is a lot of DNFs for this race. 7 of them, in fact. Both Williams, a McLaren, an Alfa Romeo, an Alpine, a Aston Martin, and a Ferrari all have retired from this race one way or another. Let's have a look at Alu chasing down Ryan Grob does have a time penalty. Let's see what that penalty is. It's 3 seconds for track limits. Very close to Ryan, who is very close to Trixty. Currently sitting in 7th. V10 Leo in the lead. Needs to pit at some point, unless he's going to make those mediums last another 7 laps, which he could well do. Ryan Grob gaining on Trixty. Not going to work for him yet. Tony Ritchie, by the way, down in 7th. Fastest lap for him, I believe, 129 flat. But I think it was invalid. Can I see fastest lap? Yeah, 129 flat. Fastest lap currently 128.9. So Ted Kravis has just messaged in the Twitch chat saying Leo is going to the end. 95% wear predicted for the final lap. So he's got to nurse those tires home. He's got to give them words of encouragement if he wants to make these tires last another 7 laps. He's currently, let's have a look, 10 seconds ahead of Tony Ritchie, who is down in 7th, and 8 seconds ahead of Reese. So he has got to still keep a bit of pace in him, because Reese and Tony are absolutely lapping here. Tony 4/10 faster than Reese. 6/10 faster than Reese, should I say, on that previous lap. Leo, 5-second time penalty in the pit lane, so he doesn't go long. Rolly, you were wrong, and he's got a penalty. Well, here comes Tony Ritchie. Down the main straight. Big battle in front of him, by the way, of Reese trying to go around the outside of Grosjean, who is in the Red Bull. Doesn't make it work. But it's very, very close. Almost bump drafting off Grosjean. And Tony is catching up to this pack and has got to pick them off one by one. He's got 5 cars ahead of him, 6 laps to do so. He needs to pick off 1 car a lap. Reese has a little look towards the outside of Grosjean. Is he going to go the long way around? Grosjean has a little bit of a slip. Reese gets the move done, gets the better exit, and now it's Tony's turn to get the move done on his teammate. We see him do it with ease just there on the right-hand side, and into Spoon they go. Tony on the older tires, not working for him. Sorry, Grosjean on the older tires, not working for him there. And now Tony very close to Reese. This is the important battle, because both of these guys have the pace to catch up to the top 3, and Tony goes down the inside of Spoon, just like Sergio Perez last week. Gets the Spoon, 130R, gets the move done at 130R in the Red Bull. Now has DRS to chase down Alu. Only 3/10 between them, 2/10. Makes the move up into 3rd place. Can he get it done? Yes, he can. Gets ahead just before the first corner, and there you go. I challenged him to get 6 positions in 5 laps, and he's just got 3 in 1 lap. And now he's only got 4/10 to the lead with 5 laps to go. He's definitely got the pace to do this. He's lapping 1 second faster than Trixie, who is currently in P2, right ahead of him. 4 laps on those soft tires, 10 laps on Trixie's mediums. All he's got to do is be a bit patient. Don't want to be over-aggressive. It was very aggressive on that previous lap. Needed to be done. Needed to get all of the overtakes possible while they were all grouped up. And now he's only got 2 cars to get his 2 cars to get ahead to get his 4th win of the season. Let's see then. What can he do as they head towards 130R? We saw him overtake down the inside on the previous lap. He's going to make a move to the chicane. Here we go. Down, round the outside. gets ahead under braking of Trixty, and now has DRS to get the pressure down on Ryan Grob. Gets the better exit, of course, on those soft tires. Here he goes, gaining, and gaining. Reese in the background, you can see, gets ahead of Alu, and Tony has a little look round the outside of Ryan Grob, but Ryan Grob holds on under pressure from the DRS of Tony. New fastest lap, by the way, for V10 Leo in the Mercedes. He'll get 1 extra point from that as Mizzy retires from the session. So only 12 drivers left with only 4 laps left. Round Degner 1, round Degner 2. Very important exit here. So Tony Ritchie. It's Red Bull versus McLaren. We've seen that a few times already this season. What we haven't seen this season is this many DNFs. Usually we're pretty good on safety cars and DNFs in X1, but today has been very different. 8 people retiring from this race. And while while Tony only has 1 car to overtake, he's still not in the clear. Trixty 0.4 seconds away from Tony and still very much in contention here. While he is on the older tires, a small mistake could cost either of these top 2 the win here. But Ryan Grob feeling the pressure as overtake is used a tad. Tony moves to the outside, slips ahead, and gets it done into turn 1. Tony Ritchie regains the lead of this race, climbing through the pack on the soft tires. Pulled this strategy off absolutely beautifully, going very long on the hard tires. And Reese hasn't been able to replicate the same on the mediums. Currently sitting in 4th, but Tony now has to pull out 0.7 seconds from between himself and Ryan Grob to avoid the threat of DRS. Otherwise, we could be going to the line here. As you can see on the minimap, the checkered flag falls just before turn 1. So it's a long DRS run before turn 1 and before the checkered flag as well. Let's have a look at the lap times. Tony Ritchie 0.2 faster than the 3 cars behind him. So it can be done. Also, the 3 cars behind him on a lot older tires and on a slower compound. So it's all about how much does Tony have left in these soft tires. As Ryan Grob very close behind Tony here. Has about 20% more ERS and has the overtake. And you can see him, you heard him downshift and you saw him downshift on the telemetry. Doesn't want to go for it this lap. Maybe he's just literally going to wait until the final lap to get the DRS run on Tony Ritchie. Lap 25 of 27. Tony. 2 laps away. 2.5 laps away from getting his 4th win here in Season 6 of EXA. Got a yellow flag there. That's V10 Leo spinning out down in 11th. And how long can Tony keep these soft tires in contention? As Reese, by the way, is very, very close to Trixty here. Exiting Spoon Curve. We've got 2 fights that we've got to keep a lookout for. The fight for P1 and the fight for P3. Reese desperately wants to get on the podium. He started on pole position, but the strategy hasn't quite worked out for him today. And the win is looking out of the question, but a podium is absolutely not, as our top 4 separated by less than a second. Let's ride on board with Ryan Grob, who has DRS on lap 26 of 27. He's going to go for the move now. No, he's not. He backs out just the slightest bit, and that is Trixty sliding in turn 1. Maybe there was a bit of contact there between Reese. I'm not sure. I didn't see it, but he slid out of turn 1 And that is his podium dreams demolished. Down to P6. Another retirement, V10 Leo. Only 11 drivers standing in this race with 2 laps to go. Ryan Grob hot on the tails of Tony Ritchie. And once again here at EXA Racing League, it is going to be decided within the final minutes of this race. There hasn't been a single race this season in X1 where it hasn't been decided on the final lap. Qatar, race to the line. Saudi Arabia, a race to the line. Tonight, it's going to be a race to the line as well. Singapore, also a race to the line. It's getting very close here between Ryan and Tony. Ryan, 1.1 seconds away, less than 0.1 seconds away as they go around 130R. And once again, we're probably going to see him save this until the DRS zone. Here he goes. He's got the overtake. He's got the battery. Tony needs to defend. He's using his battery as well. Tony knows Ryan's games, but what can he do against the DRS? Absolutely nothing. Ryan goes down the inside. Tony hangs around the outside. Can't make it stick. Ryan Grob retakes the lead. And now Tony has a lot of work to do in this final lap if he wants to take this lead. His tyres are starting to go a little bit. Those soft tyres aren't going to be working as well as he wants them to. Ryan Grob retakes this lead and is starting to put distance between himself and Tony. Let's look at the sector times as they cross the first sector now. Tony, 0.5 second, Ryan, 0.5 seconds faster in that first sector. But that hasn't stopped Tony from being right on the heels of Ryan Grob here, but is also under threat from Reese, the person who started on pole in the Alfa Romeo, currently in 3rd. This could be a drag race to the line for the win between 3 drivers here. This is going to be very, very close. Tony Ritchie only 0.2 seconds away as they go round Spoon Curve. 1 sector to go now between Ryan Grob and the checkered flag. Can he hold on even with the checkered flag being so far down? No, actually, it's up. The checkered flag is close. It's 3 corners away. Tony Ritchie tries to go round the outside. Can't make it move. Oh, there's contact between the 2 of them. This is going to give Reese the jump to get it. Who's going to cross the line first? It was Ryan Grob. Then Tony Ritchie, then Reese. I coughed mid-commentary. Apologies for that. 600ths of a second. 600ths of a second between Tony Ritchie and Ryan Grob at the end there. Just to explain what happened as everyone else crosses the line. Tony Ritchie had contact between Ryan, which made him go into a ghost mode. Reese almost got the jump on him, on both of the drivers. And so they basically, Tony was invisible as there wasn't a car length, or there wasn't enough room for him to go out of ghost mode because he had a car, he was in front of he was in a car, and there was a car essentially in him as well as he was in ghost mode. So I believe that Ryan Grob wins here in Japan. Congratulations to our top 3. And that was very, very close. That was incredibly close to our top 3. Congratulations to all 3. Reese gets a point for pole position in the AlphaTauri. And Ryan Grob gets the most points here with the win. So we're about to get into the interviews in just a second, but let's recap. 12 drivers who was 11 drivers left who finished this race. Ryan Grob takes the win, closely followed behind by Tony Ritchie in the Red Bull, and then it's Reese in the AlphaTauri, Alu in 4th, Grosjean in 5th, Trixie in 6th, the other Reese in the other AlphaTauri in 7th, Sousa 8th, Samuel 9th, Matthew May 10th, and Jetters in 11th. That rounds up the people who finished the race. And V10 Leo, who did retire, got the fastest lap over the race with a 128.4. Okay, I am going to hit the interview button, and we're going to get into the interviews very, very soon. There you go. You can hear the this call in the Discord. We're just going to wait for the drivers to pick up and then get their thoughts on the race. So it'll just be a minute until all the drivers are in the call. And actually, I can manage the prediction that happened, I think. I don't actually know how to do it. I can manage the prediction. I've actually no clue how to end this prediction. Slash prediction. Choose outcome. Was poll converted? No, it was not. There you go. There are some channel points for people. All right, we've got Ryan in the interview room. And we can have a chat with him. Hi, Ryan.
Hello.
Congratulations on the win today, your first win of Season 6. It was very close between you and Tony. Can you just talk us through what happened at that final chicane? Because it looked very confusing. There was a bit of ghost mode going on with Tony's car. Can you just explain what happened from your point of view?
I'm honestly not quite sure myself. I knew I had more battery. And I defended the inside. I easily had the line. Tried to go around the outside. I think we had a bit of contact, but I think that's just a racing incident.
Yep.
And then I'm unsure why he ghosted. It's probably just the game. But luckily didn't completely spin out like I did when I went into him at Spa. But yeah, a very, very close one, to be fair.
Lovely. And you weren't starting from the highest of grid positions today. So what was it that managed to get you the win today? Was it strategy or was it just pure pace?
Well, my quality was bad, as you said, or not where I would have hoped. So I doubt it's pure pace. But on the other hand, with school and stuff, I don't have as much time to practice as others. And this was my first race at Suzuka on this game. That was like somewhat competitive. So I think the safety car made it interesting. I mean, it kind of dropped Rice or Imitaz and Souza behind me. And then I don't know, what surprised me was that Trixty pit on lap 11, or was 11 or 12? I think it was 11. Even though we had a safety car, which was early, which then towards the end, I went 2 laps later, so towards the end his tires were gone. So that worked out pretty nicely as well, and then it was pretty much just me against Tony in the end. And I knew his softs were gonna be completely gone. I had no more battery as well, and then I managed to finally overtake him cleanly on like at Spa, and I'll happily take that win.
Yeah, we saw you towards the final few laps deciding not to overtake. Like let's say on lap 25, you left it to the very last minute there. Was that intentional, just so he didn't get you back on the final lap with DRS?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, Rice is now in the call as well, so congrats on your podium as well. But I kind of did the Carlos Sainz strategy. So after Rice pit for his mediums, I didn't use Bachi to quickly get past Trixty, but I let Alu and Noe in my DRS. So I think Rice had a harder time to get past them because they were in DRS with me and Trixty as well. But yeah, I mean, that's just...
Well, it was a good result for you, so congratulations very much on the win here at Suzuka. We can move on to Tony, who is very close behind in second place. Tony, we've heard Ryan's thoughts on what happened in the final corner. Can you just explain what happened on the final corner and the final lap?
I had no space, like I hate his tire, so my front wing hit his left tire, front left tire, so yeah.
Okay, and Was it? And you ended up getting ghost mode going across the line. Do you think that impacted the position and the outcome, or no?
No, 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 no.
No. Okay.
That helped me. So,
Oh, it helps you. Okay. And you went very long with the hard tires, deciding not to pit at the early safety car. And did you pit a bit earlier than you were hoping because your softs were pretty gone towards the end of the race?
no, I don't know because it was like 1.5 seconds per lap.
Mm-hmm.
I lost, so yeah, I don't know. Maybe one lap early. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your insight there, and congratulations on P2. Rice, you started on pole position here, but you weren't able to convert it. So what went wrong in that sort of sense?
Hi, mate. First of all, I just want to. Can you hear me?
Yes,
That's
you
what I wanted
can.
to
Yeah.
ask. Yeah, yeah. I want to thank the viewers for watching, first of all. Thanks for those that are tuning in. And I want to ask you, first of all, was that an entertaining race?
It was very entertaining. In fact,
Yeah, it was,
X1
yeah.
has been the most entertaining division we've had. Every single race has been decided on the last lap. So brilliant driving from you guys, of course, to make it
Yeah,
entertaining.
That's very, very good stuff. Yeah, going back to your question. Yeah, so it just, I think the race pace just wasn't there today. I mean, I did a few lobbies of quali and I did no race practice. So, as you guys know, I'm not really like a practice sort of merchant for this league, but I did a few lobbies in quali, and I made a mistake in the quali as well. Still got pole, I think, by 2 milliseconds. So,
Yep.
congrats to Tony for sticking it on the front row as well. But yeah, the race, yeah, I made the wrong strategy call, I think, as well. Boxed a bit too early on the mediums. I thought Tony was going to box mediums as well. That wasn't the case. He went soft, and then I was draining all my battery to catch the pack, who was in DRS with each other, which then turned out to be a bit of a fail because yeah, I ended up with no battery towards the end. So it was my own race pace. I was discovering more and more pace as the tires were getting older, which doesn't really make sense. But that just goes to show how inexperienced I was with racecraft here at Japan. But yeah, that was about it.
Yeah, do you think it was a mistake pitting on the early safety car, or was that not the problem?
I don't think it would have mattered either way, to be honest. I think I would have been at the front. I was at the front on the first lap. I gapped Tony and I gapped the rest of the field by over a second. And then unfortunately the safety car came. I was a bit frustrated at that. So I boxed. A lot of people boxed, but not enough for me to have gained that much of an advantage from it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a bit annoying. But yeah, we move on. And, from now, I don't know how many races are left in the season, but I'll definitely start to practice a little bit more as all the other leagues are sort of ending, like PSGL, WR.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be practicing a lot more for this league, and you'll see a lot more of me, I think, on the podium. At the end of the day, my aim is to reach F1 Esports next year, and I've had a lot of criticism that I talk the talk too much, but I'm going to do that again today, and I'm going to say that I will be at the top of F1 Esports very, very soon. You will see my face. There'll be one face, one name, one champion, and that's Raiz. And I think I'm ready. And this is just a starter.
Well, we're absolutely we're very excited for you and your journey into F1 esports. So you're just mentioning about the rest of the calendar. We're on race 5 of 12. Next is Hungary. How do you feel about the Hungaroring?
Perfect. Bring it on. Bring it on.
Lovely stuff. Thank you very much, and congratulations to our top 3. I hope you all enjoyed today's race and our today's post-race interviews. We're very excited to see what Raiz can do in the rest of his, hopefully, great F1 esports career, and anyone else who is looking to get competitive in F1 23. Please do !League if you are new. Join our Discord server. We have races 5 days a week for people who are at F1 esports level, like we've just seen today. all the way down to the noobs and slow coaches like myself who can barely keep it on the track. So any experience level, do join our league, and we are all welcome for you to be racing over the coming weeks. Thank you very much for watching, everybody, and I hope you all enjoy the rest of your evening. I will see you next Tuesday for X3 and in 7 days' time for X1 in Hungary. Goodbye.